Hi, and welcome to episode 233 of the Mighty Whites podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by KC.
No.
No Connie this week. He's getting married on Saturday. He's got a lot on, which is why...
Listen, mate, we're going to be there and we're doing this.
Yeah. Next week's podcast might be a bit weird because I'm not sure how much of a game any of us are going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Just get some fill-ins.
There's one main question, KC. Are we good? I think we might be good.
Yeah. Basically, I think we are now.
We'll just get straight into it.
It's been good as relegation, really.
Yeah, it's great fun. Fuck the Premier League, it's shit.
Ultimately, I'm happier now than I was in, February.
Are we coming round to the... I believe it was Moscowite who said, I would love us to win the championship every season and not get promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we coming round to his way of thinking a little bit?
Yeah. Breakaway.
Yeah.
The Football League breaks away from
itself. There is no League One, League Two, or Premier League. It's just the championship.
Yeah.
Is it a greedy money grab to separate yourself off and have a closed shop if it's at the second tier?
It's tough to judge it that way.
So yeah, we'll get into the game. Leeds 3, Watford 0. We were just really good all the way through. Basically, there's no real issues. Byram came back in, which we wanted, but everyone expected it to be for Shackleton, but it was actually for Luke Ayling, with Shackleton moving to right back. Glenn Kamara came in for Archie Gray, and Somerville replaced the injured Willie Nonto, who we now know has had surgery. As of today, he's had successful surgery, but he's going to be a while yet. There wasn't any point, whether it was just from minute one, we were just miles better than them.
No, from minute one, we were the better team. I never really understood the way they set up, other than they have a very big lad up top, but they never really seem to get it to him that much.
Yeah, they seem to start in a 4. It was a 4-3-3, but Ince and literally, I don't remember who the left winger was.
I mean, I was going to say, I'd be hard pressed to tell you anything impressive Tom Ince did.
Yeah, but they just didn't. They weren't involved at all. You noticed Sierralta a little bit, but it is true that the main thing that you noticed was that Rajovic doesn't look very good. It wasn't quite Paul Onuachu for Southampton last season, but it wasn't good.
I mean, straight out of the gate, his literal first challenge was they pumped it long. He never looked at the ball once and charged into Pascal Struijk. And honestly, I don't know how it wasn't a yellow card right off the bat. Because
he could have had about 4, couldn't
he? He had 2 in about 3 minutes that didn't get booked.
Was it him that kicked someone in the head as well?
I think it was a high foot in there. You just watch the stuff that seemed to be let go, or just given as a free kick and no card, and then Rutter got booked for, what was it, knocking the ball back 5 yards or something.
No, he wasn't 10 yards and stuck his leg up to block. But yeah, the only thing that was annoying about the first half is that we managed to go in 0-0. We were all over them. Daniel Bachmann made a couple of very good saves. The one from Ampadu was a really good save. That one was better than it looked in the ground. Now I've seen it back. Really good save from Somerville as well after he got put through by Rutter. And he stayed on his feet well, so I'll give him credit for that, for saving the big Rutter chance. But that wasn't good goalkeeping. That was shit forward play.
that shit bastard Georginio Rutter.
Yep. There was people
how I looked at that moment and thought, here we go.
Well, obviously, KC was sat next to me at this game, so he heard some of the stuff around us. There was some people not happy with Georginio Rutter, and it was annoying me, and it couldn't have made me any happier what happened later. We were just utterly dominant in the first half, which I think it showed a lot that Watford made 3 subs at half-time. Which
their setup for the second half. The more I thought about it, it was a 3-3-2-2 was kind of their setup almost. A back three, wing backs and a holding mid, 2 centre mids, and then 2 out and out forwards. Who still never touched the ball. Like, they had 2 men up there, and I can't tell you of many long balls that were won. Like, Pascal Struijk had a fantastic day winning headers again.
We should probably mention now, because they didn't have to do much defending, but Struijk and Cooper were both good. Cooper did one silly. You remember against Hull, he got a ball passed back to him and he just left it for Meslier without communicating, and then they panicked a bit. He did that exact same thing again, but other than that, he was good.
Yeah, I think maybe the one criticism you'd have for Cooper is that it probably took him a bit. His distribution was probably a touch on the slow side at times, but it definitely improved in the second half as well. I think he kept getting caught in a couple of minds about which pass to play, because you'd have Byram would get into a decent space on the left hand side, and then it would probably be a bit too slow, and either the centre back or the full back kind of goes with him.
Yeah, that lofted ball to Byram was weird because he turned it down quite a few times, but the 3 times he played it, he got it perfect every single time.
Yeah. No, I thought the back four as a whole, very good performance. Glenn Kamara, good first start as well.
I liked what I saw out of Kamara. He was good on the ball and all of that stuff. The thing that I liked was his timing of when to really press up and sort of go from it being 2 deep midfielders to just pushing up and leaving Ampadu back by himself. Every single time he went, he timed it really well. So he always, it never meant that they could just spin around him and get away. He always timed it right. And that was really good to see. Shows he's really understood what the press trigger should be and when to go.
Yeah. I think ultimately that there is, from that game, and I've said before on here about kind of how I saw the team being if you had everyone fully fit. About Rutter probably moving out to the right hand side to make way for like a fit Patrick Bamford. No,
you're less sure about that now.
You know what? You have the constant talk with Pirro is how little he is involved in a game at times. But if you are going to be in the right place at the right time to score a goal, it really doesn't matter. And I thought in this one, probably more so in the second half, I think you saw Rutter dropping a bit deeper to get on the ball. And he was just having so much, and I mean this in every sense of the word, he had so much joy in possession.
I love him. I'm not like, I said this before we even set up like the third goal and stuff. And me and my dad were on about it on the way to the game. I was saying he might be my favourite player because he's just so likable. And then he turned in a performance like that, and I was like, no, he's definitely my favourite player. I absolutely love him. And I even love him when he does, when he does that stupid miss in the first half. I even sort of smiled when he did that because it's so on brand.
Yeah. I think the way I thought about it is everyone else playing the Championship while Georginio Rutter is here playing FIFA Street.
Yeah. We'll get into the second half because after the changes, they went to a proper 3 at the back and really set the stall out. And for about 5 minutes, they looked a bit better. And then Leeds just overran them again and just kept battering them. The first one of Rutter's little world beat bits was he got the ball from a Byron throwing and beat 2 and played Somerville in. And Somerville was denied by an okay save. He didn't really catch the shot, but if he'd just played it to his left, Pirro was in. And then we finally broke him. Rutter again beats 2, plays it to Dan James, breaks down the right. And Dan James had such a weird game up to this point because he had been incredibly wasteful and done some really shit things in possession. He'd also set up the best chance of the game Like he'd had a really odd game, but this was just a really good cross. Never going anywhere else except Joe Pirot's foot, who has got into, as he does, he's in a load of space, 7 yards out, smashes the volley home. And as soon as that goal went in, there was like, it's been a while since I've seen like that palpable sense of relief at a goal. Just, I think we'll be okay now. And it really was. It was just such a well taken, right the way through. Everyone involved in the move. It was just, everyone did the exact right thing.
Yeah. There's not much else you can add to it in terms of that. It's, again, Rutter just having fun and then giving it to Dan James. And I don't know if I've seen him hit a better cross in terms of just that's where it needs to go. And he's landed it within an inch of that spot.
Yeah.
It was just absolutely perfect where it needed to be. And I said before, Rutter can drift in and out of games and go in lengthy periods without doing a whole lot. But when you can pop up and score a goal like that, it's.
I wish Rutter could, as you called him Rutter instead.
Oh, sorry, Pirot.
By the way, I will just bit of fourth wall breaking. We're both knackered.
Yeah. It's that constant thing when you hit, and no, I am not making a direct comparison ability-wise, but this fact that even now pundits still go, is Erling Haaland doing enough in this game? And you're like, why does it matter? He's going to score twice anyway. What does it matter? And
I did, when I watched it back, because I've missed it off the notes, so I haven't even mentioned it. Pirot was much more involved in this one. He wasn't as involved in players like Rutter was. But he sets up that Ampadu chance. He plays the outside of the foot through ball that Dan James runs onto, and he's quicker than everyone else on the pitch, has a 2-yard head start and doesn't get the shot away. Instead, choosing to slow down and dive. Again, this is what I meant by he's having a weird game. But he's never going to be completely involved. But whenever he does get on the ball, he does something with it.
Yeah.
And if we had 3 players like that, we'd be in trouble. But I think we can get away with 1.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely fine with players like that as long as what they do is having a positive effect on the game. I think unfortunately last year we were watching too many players who, when they got on the ball, there was like 5 Dan Jameses.
Yeah,
there just wasn't.
I've mentioned it on it before. Ball. My dad spent the entire season just shouting the word composure.
Yeah, and he was right. It was, we had a full season of watching Brendan Aronson going, he's got the ball in a decent position, but I know he's going to drive away from goal and he's going to go down. Like, nothing is going to come from this other than, he'll make 15 yards up, but if you're not troubling the keeper or beating a defender or winning a free kick or something, it comes to nothing. And we had too much of that. Whereas at this level, I look at Somerville, who I think can beat absolutely anyone. Pirot, like you say, will take his chances when he gets there. Very good at bringing others into the game. Rutter does whatever the fuck he wants. And Dan James does it really fast. Except when he's ahead of them.
Yeah. With it being Leeds, even though we've battered them and they haven't had a kick, you 1-0 up, but you do think it's still Leeds, we need another. And for once, you're not there going, oh, we're waiting around, it's all scrappy. No, a couple of minutes later, Dan James takes best corner he's taken all season. It's very rare, actually, to see one of these, but Sam Byron does manage to fund a bastard a header.
God, it's a brilliant header as well, isn't it? It's just...
Again, this is nicked, but I think it was on the match ball.
Yeah.
The technique was so right that it was like a drawing out of Roy of the Rovers.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly what you wanted it to be.
It was everything Addy Moses' header was. That own goal for Barnsley, just bang, bullet, yes. Oh, but in his case, it was the wrong goal. But it was, you love seeing a header like that because it's so rare that we win a header from one of our own corners, let alone hit the target. It almost catches you by surprise. But really, really nice moment for Sam Byram, obviously, with everything he's been going through the last couple of years with injuries. And, it's just great to have him around, who I think is an excellent player to have at this level if you are going to get 25 plus games out of him. And I think if we manage his load properly, I think we probably will.
Yeah, well, when we signed Byron, well, more even before we signed him, when he was just playing in pre-season, we saw him and we were both like, well, he's definitely playing well enough that we should give him a year. But, because he'll be a good person to have in and around the squad. He can back up, he can fill holes at right back and left back. We really underestimated how good a signing he was going to be. Because he looks... I mean, I always rated him when he was here the first time, but he seems like just so much more complete. And I know he's spent a lot of time playing at left back over the last few years, but I haven't really seen it. I just know he has because it's come up. And he just looks so composed. I still think, like, Rutter was man at match. I don't think there was much debate about it. But if I had to pick someone else, it would have been Sam Byram. I thought he was outstanding.
Defensively, he is fantastic for someone that's defending on his weaker side. I know we probably place a bit more emphasis on the right back to be the one that gets higher up the pitch.
Yeah, but there was a change of that in this game.
Well, yeah, because if you think, I think the obvious part of that for us was with Shackleton at right back. The ball out to Byram in the air just makes a lot more sense for looking for that header on, if that's where it's going to.
I think part of it was that, but I also think part of it is when your two wingers are Dan James and Crescencio Somerville, the fullback you want high and wide is whoever is on Somerville's side, because Somerville is going to want to go inside and Dan James is going to want to stay outside. So with Somerville on the left, he's going to drift inside, so that's where the space is. And I thought that, like, Shackleton was willing to get forward. He got into the box a few times, but instead of it always being the same side, we seem to be a bit more varied. And I think that helped us. I think that helped our attacking play quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other side of it as well, in terms of looking at Watford, I couldn't tell you what their strategy was, because they didn't defend particularly narrowly or put men behind the ball, but the wingers didn't get into the game. There wasn't many long balls up to the centre forward for knockdowns. The most success they had was that they pinned us in for a few minutes. You got to give them credit after half time that they made it difficult for us to play out from the back. And there was a couple of times it ends up going back to Meslier or we give away possession. But once that had died down, it just went back to them offering nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone on the pitch for them who you could say outperformed their opposite number at Leeds.
Oh, definitely not. That wasn't even close. We have had a message off Connie, who's managed to find a couple of minutes ahead of wedding planning. Byram, James and Shackleton have been the pleasant surprises so far. Rutter's transformed, looks a cut above in this league. Pirro, every inch for strike, have been crying out for 2 seasons. We look united again under Farker, and long may it continue. Connie, if you get a sec, drop us a prediction in for this weekend's game. Otherwise, I will do what I did for the last weekend, which is whatever the shortest odds Leeds win is, because he always goes for a Leeds win. So yeah, the other thing about the Byron goal, way less technical, way less about how Leeds were playing. It was, you just fucking love to see it, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, I was so happy for him when he went in. And he's not so much in the league games, but in the pre-season games, he got on the end of quite a few. So it was glad to see it come in. Leeds did start making changes after that. I think that they were all after that goal. Yeah. 80 minutes, Jadon Anthony on for Crescencio Somerville. And then Graham Paveda came on for Pirro and James. Jadon Anthony did...
At first I thought you said called him Graham Paveda.
Yeah, Gray and Paveda. That's not the weird one. I keep wanting to call Jadon Anthony Mason Anthony, and I've no idea why.
Yeah.
I have Googled Mason Anthony. It's not a thing. Yeah. By the way, Connie is going 2-0 Leeds. Yeah. I don't know where it's coming from. It's just a mental thing that I can't get by. They gave the ball away, and like Jadon Anthony he nutmegged one and beat the other and killed one straight at the keeper. And I didn't mind him going for it to try and get some confidence, but Rutter was unmarked, 2 yards onside on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
Should have given him it.
I think it's one of those where I kind of looked and just thought, you're 2-0 up. It's your home debut.
Eager to impress.
Yeah. You're gonna go for goal there.
Yeah. Luckily, Rutter does not hold a grudge. Gets the ball in midfield, beats 2 players, and the one with the little step over and beat him. Ellen Road made a noise I haven't heard it make maybe since Rafinha. You know that? Oh, that noise. It was... Everyone was just going. They made that noise in the first half when he did that roulette turn as well, which we haven't really talked about, but it was outstanding. But, there's bits of skill and flash, and then there's doing the right thing with it. And after he does it, he plays a perfect through ball. Jadon Anthony for on goal. Doesn't panic, takes his time, puts it in the corner, opens his body up, far corner. Great finish. And, I mean, I don't care about facts anymore. He's better than Sinistero anyway.
Fuck that man and all he stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We will fawn over Georginio Rutter, I imagine.
This assist was so good, man. And I was like, and he played the ball, and the man was gone. I just started shouting, I fucking love him. I love him so much. I was just going, he's my absolute favourite player. He's brilliant. I'm a 33-year-old man who's tempted to go get his name on the back of my shirt. That's how much I love him.
He was fantastic, and it was. There's not many. As a Leeds fan, you try and think through the players where you're just. It's exciting to watch them on their own. There are players I've loved and players who can do great things, but you don't see players whipping out those sort of skills every day at Leeds. All right, if you're a Scum fan and you see, I know it's probably not a good example at the current moment, but that twat who flaps his legs all over the place.
Yeah.
You might see it all the time, but at Leeds, you don't see a lot of players who do that sort of thing. Even Pablo was. You had the nutmeg aspect to it, but you didn't see a lot of actual sort of trickery to it.
No, the thing that separated him was weight of pass and things like that.
Yeah,
and nutmegs.
Yeah, and then you just see some kid just beat 2 men out on the touchline. Yeah, let's do a roulette between them. It's fine.
Yeah, he's just wonderful. I mean, it was one of them assists, and part of this is because it's early days for Jadon Anthony and he hasn't got a song yet. But you score a goal and everyone immediately sings the name of the person that set it up. You do get it every now and then. I have seen it before. I've seen Pablo's had a couple of them where you just were watching it going, that was all about the assist. That was nothing to do with the goal. But this was one of them. And it was a really good finish. It's underrated how good a finish it was just because of how good the assist was. But yeah, I am head over heels. He is the man. And he's growing into this number 9 role. He's never going to be a lead the line, knock long balls up to him striker. but he is getting better at making the right runs and being in the right places. And he just has enough pure ability that you have to stick with it. Late on, Leeds made a couple of defensive changes and did lose the shape a little bit, leading to one big chance. But Melier made a great save. 4th clean sheet in a row, which I believe is the first time since just before the COVID break. Because we kept 5, didn't we? We won 5 in a row without conceding before the COVID break.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can equal that at the weekend. I've had one of Connie talking about the assists, and he said the Jack Harrison goal against Fulham where Pablo plays that flicked pass around the corner.
Yeah, mate, that's that was just a hopeful long ball. If you're, I believe it was Marco Silva.
That would have been one where that went in, and everyone would have just sung Pablo's name. There isn't a great deal of actual news stuff. In fact, there isn't really any. Leeds under-21s play Nice under-21s in Premier League International Cup at 7 p.m. today. If you've got LUTV, that'll be on. And that just takes us straight through to Southampton. Away Saturday, 12:30 on telly. Out of the Farke's press conference, there was only one major takeaway from the Leeds perspective, and that's it sounds like Bamford will be on bench.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
He lives. I look at Southampton's form coming into this.
They've lost their last 4. They do only have 3 points fewer than Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 5-0 loss to Sunderland, 4-1 to Leicester, 1-0 to Ipswich, and 2-1 to Southampton.
Southampton there.
Sorry, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm tired.
One of the things, and don't get me wrong, they should not lose 4 in a row with squad they've got. But Sunderland are a good side. Leicester are probably like on paper best side in division. Ipswich have lost 1 out of about 28 games, which was us. And Middlesbrough have had a bad start to the season, but they are one of them teams where like every metric says that they're a lot better than their results. So
yeah,
that Middlesbrough result is a bad one. But there's a decent amount of noise saying that if we beat him, Russell Martin might get sacked.
I mean, yeah. And it's always going to be a little bit tough because you have to look at the players they have lost.
I mean, obviously they've lost Lavia to Chelsea, Livramento's gone to Newcastle, Ward-Prowse to West Ham. I don't know where he's gone, but Nathan Teller went to Germany. That's Salisu as well. He was a really good centre back. So they've lost a fair few, but they have brought in some decent players as well. Like they've brought in Taylor Howard-Bellis and Mason. Like I don't particularly like Mason Holgate, but in the Championship he's a good defender. Flynn Downs should be a good midfielder at this level. Taylor Howard-Bellis should be about as good a centre back as you're going to get.
Signed Ryan Manning, completely unchallenged. Apparently.
Yeah, we weren't interested. We were getting Sam Byron. What did it matter?
Yeah.
They spent a load of money on that Shea Charles from Man City's academy to be like holding mid, which I ain't going to knock because the last time they did that was Romeo Lavia, and that worked. So fair enough. And they also signed Ross Stewart from Sunderland, who the Loch Ness Drogba.
Great name.
He is a good lead line striker, has more pace than you think for someone as tall as that, good finisher, but he has just been injured for best part of it for like 9 months.
Yeah, still, I couldn't tell you when he will be fit. He hasn't played yet this season.
Yeah. I don't think I haven't heard out, so I'm assuming he's not fit for this one. But they've been 4-3-3 pretty consistently. They have played with 2 up top a couple of times, but it's mostly 4-3-3. When you look at their side that's just the expected one, given what they've played in other games. Bazunu in goal, Kyle Walker-Peters at right back, Jan Bednarek and Taylor Howard-Bellis centre back, Ryan Manning left back. This has got Joe Aribo in midfield with Will Smallbone and Flynn Downs. And then a front three, Sam Adozie, Che Adams, Adam Armstrong. Like, it's a good side, that.
Yeah.
It's not what it was on the opening day when I saw them. Like, when they played their first game at season and they still had Ward-Prowse and Nathan Teller. you were looking at it going, that's a league-winning side. And it's dropped off since then. But they still should be a good team.
This should be a very competitive game when you look at the two squads involved. It really seemed to take it out of them when Ward-Prowse went.
Yeah.
But they started well. What was it? 3 wins out of the first 4.
Yeah.
And a 4-4 draw with Norwich. Although I'm saying that you're looking at this and there's wins again. Beat Sheff Wednesday with a late winner. Drew with Norwich. Beat newly promoted Plymouth with a 94th minute winner. And then QPR, who I think have started better than...
Well, I had them 24th.
Yeah, they've started better than they were being tipped for, but against a team like Southampton, it's probably a game that Southampton should be winning anyway.
Well, overall they have, but when you say started better, I mean, they got beat 4-0 by the Watford team we just played. The QPR.
Yeah. But, they've now played... And then after that, they followed up by playing 4 teams who, all right, Middlesbrough have not got off to the start people had thought they would, including myself. But they've now played 4 teams who are tipped to be there or thereabouts, and Ipswich, who have been in brilliant form for over a year now.
Yeah, even though they're newly promoted, Ipswich were in the top 6 favourites for the league.
Yeah. They play Sunderland, Ipswich, Leicester, and Middlesbrough, and they've lost all of them.
Yeah,
which it's going to be a weird game. Very much smacks of us under Christensen.
Yeah, and had a good start, and then we had to play some good sides.
Yeah, we played someone half decent, and then it all went to shit.
This is an early call, and don't get me wrong, I would still start him. I wouldn't. Would I change a thing?
Do you bring Archie Gray back in?
Look, one, Roden is no longer suspended. Liam Cooper did great, but I do bring Roden back in for Cooper and go back to Roden and Strauch. It is in no way a slight on Liam Cooper. I think that is our best 2. I'm just looking at their midfielders. Who's he going to be? Who are they going to be up against? I think he probably does bring Archie Gray back in. And I think that's fine. I thought that Gray would miss the whole game out of the 3. But
yeah,
I think Archie Gray comes back in.
The optimism, by the way, when we brought him off the bench for those final few minutes was leg-breaking injury out for the season.
Yeah.
Such a needless substitution, in my opinion, at that point. But
do you think Ayling might come in for Shackleton?
I think he probably does. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he probably will. If they play that Adozie up against him, it could be a problem because Adozie's really quick and really skillful. But I think Shackleton would also struggle against him. He just wouldn't struggle as much on the pace side.
Yeah.
I think it probably will be Ayling comes back in. And I think that'll probably be it for changes. I think he'll leave Dan James in.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll change that front 4. It worked too well.
Yeah, with the week off, I don't think you need to be looking at changing any of those guys in terms of having a break.
There is no way he will do this, and I wouldn't do it either. There is an argument for playing someone else at 10 because Southampton keep the ball loads. And Pirot, for everything he does not press well. He doesn't chase around.
Who needs to play at 10? Someone else.
I mean, I wouldn't change it either. I would leave him in. But there is an argument for it. For this game going, right, for an hour, you leave Kamara in, you play Archie Gray as the 10. And let him run his ass off for an hour, and then you bring Pirot on. I wouldn't do that. I don't think he will do that. But there is an argument for it.
No,
if you get that one chance and it falls to Archie Gray and he misses it,
yeah,
it's if that had been Pirro, it's probably a goal.
Tough one to justify.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be back to pretty much as exactly as you expect it to be at this point, outside of obviously Nonto with his injury. But yeah, like I said, by the sounds of things, that was successful. Firpo isn't there yet. Bamford is expected to travel right up until he slips on a particularly wet patch of grass or something, and it'll be on Friday as well, won't it?
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
Yeah. The only thing that I suppose it's possible that like one of James or Somerville dropped out for Jordan Anthony, but I don't think he will.
No, I don't see it. And to be fair, it'd be a bit of a tough one on either one, to be honest, to drop out after, especially for Dan James, if he was the one to drop out after that.
Yeah, Nick messages saying that he thinks the only change will be Roden for Cooper, no Ayling, so Stroud as captain. I'd be absolutely fine with that. I think he will bring Ayling back in, but if he plays Shackleton, that's fine. Other than Shackleton played well, barring he played a couple. He had a bad 4 minutes where he played 3 bad passes quite quick. But outside of that, he was fine. Yeah, I'm sort of looking at this game and trying to remember what Southampton should be rather than what they are recently. Because I think that if I am refusing to go for a win. Because if you look at it, every time I've gone for a win, we haven't. And every time I don't, we win. Which doesn't bode well for a way to do predictions, but I'm willing to have that bit of a trade-off. Obviously, Connie messaged earlier while prepping for his wedding. He said 2-0. Alex, from our outsider's perspective, has us winning 4-0.
I love the optimism.
But I'm going to go 1-1 draw because every time I go for a draw, we seem to do better. And I do think Southampton are due a performance where they play to the level they should.
Yeah. Last 2 times we've been there as well, a defeat and a draw.
I'm trying to remember, when will the last 2 have been? Is one of them that Painter game? Where he misses that absolute sitter?
I mean, that was a defeat there.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to remember. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, there was the Tyler Roberts scored in the Premier League behind closed doors, didn't he?
Yeah.
2-0 win.
No, I think there was fans at that one. I think this was at the back end when it was 20%.
Oh, is that one of the last 2 games of the season when you could have a third in?
Yeah. So yeah, there's Tyler Robertson.
Bamford got the other.
Yeah, and that was the game where Bamford was screaming at the referee, "So I have to dive then."
Yeah.
Yeah, then followed up with the abysmal performance under the Bielsa, where Rafinha he was ill coming back from international duty, so he didn't play, and Phillips wasn't fully fit, so I don't think he played either, and we were awful.
Weirdly, you know what? I can remember it cut into Rafinha being sat at the side, not playing. Yeah. I don't remember the game at all.
Yeah, we watched that one at yours. Yeah. And then there was the brilliant, heroic 80-minute performance of Jesse Marsh's Leeds.
Oh yeah,
at St Mary's last season.
Where it was about to Americanize it, because it was Jesse Marsh, it was about 108 degrees, and he said, "I know how to handle this because I've managed in the MLS, and you get days like this." So he proceeded to not make any substitutions, and then when they're all bollocks at the end, they conceded 2 goals.
Yeah. I'm remaining cautious of this one at the moment. I think if we play like we have done in these last few games, and I include sort of the first hour against Hull in there as well, that we should beat them given how they've been playing. But there is still a good team there. Yeah. I'm going to go. I'm going to go for a back-to-back 2-2 draws.
So you're going 2-2. Cool.
Yeah.
Right, they're all in the sheet. Yeah, I don't think there's all else to add. As I say, the next podcast might be weird because I am not sure how much of this we're going to get to see.
I'm sure there'll be a window.
Well, the ceremony is early. I think that the ceremony will be done by then, but there'll be all the photos and stuff will be happening in and around then.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how much we can do. And there's going to be a lot of Leeds fans there. We could do with Leeds winning just for the mood. It'll be a happy day either way, but it could be an extra happy day if we win. So I think that is everything. We will be back one of the days early next week.
I was going to say we will have to squeeze one in before Wednesday, won't we?
Yeah, because we play. In fact, probably Monday is quite a good day for it. I might even have to have a word with Ava's grandparents to see if I can have her for a couple of hours, because otherwise I think I'm really going to be pushed for time before Wednesday.
Yeah. I don't know why we do this. This is Patreon content where you get to listen to the producers' discussions.
Yeah, Connie with a message there. Married life depends on the result for me. So just in case you wondered how serious it was. But yeah, that will do us for episode 233, which I titled How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Georginio Rutter. That'll do us. I've been Jack. See ya.
I've been Casey. Have a good one.